Hello and welcome. My name is Zafar Iqbal, and you are watching the Mojo Story. A US military aircraft carrying over 100 deported Indian immigrants has just landed at Amritsar Airport, International Airport. Uh, the deportees include 25 women, 12 minors, and 79 men from Punjab, Gujarat, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, and Maharashtra. The Punjab government has arranged transport and assistance while police are screening deportees for criminal records. Now, obviously, there is going to be a debriefing that will take place, but it's very significant that all these people have been sent on a military aircraft. To discuss this, we're joined by an eminent panel. We're joined by uh, Shashikant ji, he's a former DGP of Punjab, and we're also joined by Alok Bansal Sahab, Director, India Foundation. Shashikant ji, I was just wondering, two things came to my mind immediately. One, that they were sent on a military aircraft, and second, that they landed in Amritsar. These two seem unusual, or they are usual that these people can be sent on a military aircraft, and rather than being they're landing in Delhi or Gujarat, because 30 of them are also from Gujarat, they're landing in Amritsar. What can be the possible reason for this?
Look, I don't know what's the really division, how many Punjabis or Gujaratis or guys from UP or other states. And I think landing in Amritsar is as good as landing in Delhi. Yes, people are speculating that they didn't land in Delhi because of the election process which is going on there. They thought that might create certain problem out there. I don't
Yeah,
subscribe to that theory. I said
right.
that Amritsar is as good as Delhi, and from here, certainly Punjab police, after talking to them, will send, after what you say, debriefing them, will be sending them further ahead to their destinations.
And what
And
is
as
the
far as
SOP
the
that will generally be followed now? Now that they have arrived in India, how is this SOP followed step by step? You can see on the screen that's the military aircraft that brought these people back to India.
Now, the SOP is that once these guys deplane, then they'll certainly be debriefed that how they had gone there, what for they had gone there, what were the finances, how exactly they were living in US, where they were living, how they were making their both ends meet, were they involved in drug trade or some other illegal thing, the entire gamut of the things, and what was anybody involved in any of the anti-India activities. The debriefing is certainly very important to bring on record what exactly they were doing and what exactly is a problem now. Then they'll be talked about how did they manage the funds from here, whether the funds were sent from here through Hawala route, or maybe there's some how did they sell their property, and lots of questions will come up because these guys, I know, they sell their property, etc., and some of these unscrupulous travel agents, they just milk them nicely. So there are lots of questions. Debriefing is very important. And then along with that, asking the entire legal process. When I talk to them, certainly the question will come up. Uh, who were their contacts in India? Who had instigated or promoted that they should go off to US? What was the donkey route that was followed? Lots of the entire whole gamut of questions is there on which they'll be debriefed. That is the first most important SOP. Thank you.
Right. And Alokji, coming to you, one cannot miss the timing. This comes days after President Trump took over. I'm sure an elaborate exercise must have been carried out by the Indian embassy and the consulates there before they were sent here. But do you think there is a messaging in all of this? They being sent on a military aircraft, and uh, in a few days, Prime Minister Modi is going there.
See, Jafar, there are a lot of issues which you need to understand. I think you've not understood the whole thing well. Please understand why they are being sent in a military aircraft. Because firstly, deporting them from there involves cost. Now, if they would have been sent in a civilian aircraft, there would have been cost upfront. The airline
Right.
would have asked for a cost. In a military aircraft, there's no upfront cost. There is, of course, a cost involved, but that could be considered as part of military training, because this being C-17 is a transport aircraft which flies across the globe as part of training sorties. So it's just part of a training sortie that they have been brought. Why
Right.
they have been brought to Amritsar? Because Amritsar is next to Pakistan, firstly. Secondly, bulk of the people who have been sent, the largest chunk is from Punjab. There is a large number of people from Punjab in that part. Landing them in Amritsar also sends a message across the border that you are also going to get them next. So that's it.
Right.
Now, one of the stipulations which Trump had actually placed before the leaders of the other countries was that they should be willing to accept the illegal immigrants. You saw what happened with Colombia. The
Right.
Colombians people went there, and there was, of course, initially a tension. Then eventually Colombia agreed. You have seen what has actions have been taken by Canada and Mexico to stop illegal immigrations. Now,
Yeah.
similarly, India agreed. India always said, when they had said that there are 18,000 illegal migrants from India, we have said that we are willing to accept them. So that is as far as this. And I think it was India's willingness and the need of President Trump of needing a country like India that Prime Minister Modi has been sent an invitation to come. Now, having achieved that, now let's come to the next part. Firstly, once they land, the first thing that you need to establish is they are Indian nationals. See, because there could be anyone. See, most of these people have destroyed their travel documents. Now it's only a guesswork that they are Indians. There could be Pakistanis, there could be Bangladeshis, there could be any South Asians masquerading as Indians. So the first part of debrief has to be to establish whether they are Indian citizens. And then, of course, there are plethora of questions that need to be asked. How did they go? Who incentivized them? How did they? Who are the people who assisted them? And then next legal course of action would have to be taken, whether according to Indian laws it is illegal to try and go to another country. That part will come. Also, we need to understand when we say illegal migrant, when it comes to Indians in US, there are plethora of different categories of migrants. There
Right.
are Indians who have overstayed their visas, who have still got valid work permits, but their visas have expired, so they can't come back and go. So there are a large number of people who had gone there to study. They are on 3 years visa, their work permit, they have taken work permit subsequently and are working, but they don't have the visas to, the visa tenure or visa time has ended. So this part as to who all are illegal migrant will probably, it will shape out, span out as we go further. As of now, I hope these are the people who were completely illegal, who had no visas or anything. But we will get to know who these people are as the time passes by, because as you have been brought out, that there are women, there are children. Now those questions will come. Are these children, some of them, were they born in US or something like that? Because those issues will come into play. I don't know how it will work out, but this is a primary incentive. I think Trump wants to show to his electorate that he's acting, and that's why they have been sent in a military aircraft. That's the fastest way he could have done. If he had to charter a civilian airlines, that would have costed him. That would have also entailed certain time, because airlines do not have that sort of spare aircraft to spare for a job like this. They are generally on a schedule. They have planned their maintenance, etc. So I think all these factors have been taken into account, and that's why you're seeing they are landing. Landing in Amritsar also has a point. Please understand, Delhi is a busy airport. If a military airport has to aircraft, it has to be dovetailed. You'll have to do a lot of things. So Amritsar was easier, probably not so crowded, not so busy airport, and I think that's why it's been sent there.
Thanks so much, Alokji, for putting all of this in context for our viewers. But you also spoke about the India's response. India's response has been very clear about these illegal immigrants. In fact, Foreign Minister Jaishankar spoke about this a few days ago, and that made India stand very clear. Let's hear what he had to say.
If there are any of our citizens who are not here legally, if we are sure that they are our citizens, we've always been, open to their legitimate return to India. So it's not a position unique to the United States. I do understand right now that there is a certain debate going on and a resulting sensitivity which is there. But we have been consistent, we have been very principled about it, and that remains our position, and I conveyed that very clearly to Secretary Rubio.
Right. India has been consistent in its stand, and that has been conveyed to the officials out there. But clearly, it is an important development in the sense that all of them have been brought here. But could it be just the first tranche, or we will see more such sort of sorties from the US bringing people who have illegally gone to that country back to India? Or we'll see that it's just a one off, it's more of a symbolic, or it's indeed a part of a process, a larger process. That's what Trump has promised, not just for India, but for other countries as well. Yes,
See, this is, I think, to my mind, the first of the number of such actions that are likely to be taken. But it depends. With Trump, everything is transactional. He has taken the first step. He will now observe our next step, how we deal with it, and then the next course of action will be taken. Because please remember, the number of illegal migrants in US is enormous. If they all have to be sent in military aircraft back to their homes, there'll be an enormous cost involved. So
right.
as of now, he's made the symbolic gesture. He has sent people back to some of the countries, and we'll see how he moves forward. May not, they may not come by. He may probably insist on the host countries to and make arrangements to take them back. That is also quite feasible, that he may ask the countries that please do the needful to uh, take them back. So that
Right.
issue is possible. That's what I was trying to say.
Right. Shashikantji, if one goes to Punjab, it is very uh, everywhere. It's visible everywhere that people want to go abroad for studies, for other purposes, for jobs. And that is where this, human trafficking people who are just taken there illegally, they take other means, not the legal means, and go there. Do you think that a sort of a crackdown is needed, particularly in states like Punjab, where this trend is seen more, to stop the exploitation of people who go without proper documentation in countries like the US?
Certainly, yes, because if you look at the number of persons who go abroad, the most, I think, two states which just most important are Punjab and probably Gujarat. Lots of persons from these two states, they just migrate abroad in hordes, and they thought in search of better
Yeah,
opportunities and life, etc., etc. And again, that the important issue is that number one, they sell off their property. The reason why they are going, but if they come back, I think the most important question to be debated is why they had gone abroad, why India can't provide them required opportunities. Uh, why do they try to run away at such enormous cost? There are no jobs. Uh, then the dream of you to go abroad and then going there and then falling in the hands of undesirable elements. Like, look what's happening in Canada. Most of this drug trade out there is being handled by Indians. So these are the questions I think Indian government and gentlemen like Mr. Bansal, etc., who are intellectuals, they'll have to go into and ponder over this question also, that why people have this load, that they're lured by abroad, that the charm that they want to go abroad. This will also have to be seen. And last question, last one thing I want to talk about the military aircraft. Look, there's two differences. Even in India, if a person is sent home in a cab, different. If a person is sent in a police car, that's different. It's basically to sort of put some pressure on their psyche that, well, if you do that, we are going to be really stern. We are not going to give you a five-star farewell. We are going to put you there in the aircraft, the military aircraft, and you are being sent as a deportee. Deportee is a different thing than a person going comfortably in a civilian aircraft. Yeah, that's what my take out there is. Thank you.
but will that act as a deterrent? Do you think such
Of
symbolism will act as a
course,
deterrent?
Of course, the world, human psyche is all about symbolism. And these words go because I was talking to certain person who are being hauled up, still in the process of being hauled up in US. Lots of are from Punjab and other states also. There's a fear out there. What's going to happen there? They'll be hauled up. And in US, they've got a different thing. Unlike India, where handcuffing is not permitted. They're straightway they are picked up and handcuffed and thrown behind the bars and shove them in a military aircraft or whatever it is and uh, dispatch them. I won't say deport, I'll say dispatch them back to their respective country. That's what Americans do. Thank you.
Right. Alokji, you spoke about a process of verification. Uh, I just wanted to understand, would that verification have already happened back in the US before they were deported, and now there will be a debriefing? Because the worry is that it they would have destroyed their travel documents. All of them may not be Indians. There may be a possibility that there are infiltrators, people from other countries who have just rounded up and presented themselves as Indians and arrived in India. Obviously, they have not committed any crime in India, so they will be sent back to their states.
See, firstly, Jafar, US is not interested in carrying out a verification whether they are an Indian or a Pakistani. If a man says he's Indian, he'll be sent to India. That's simple as that. They really don't want to waste their resources and time in doing that. And
Right.
Indians would not have the capability to doing that. That is
Right.
our responsibility. We would not want any illegal migrant to land up in our country. We wouldn't want an illegal criminal to land up into our country. So we would
Right.
do a debrief and we would have the wherewithal because we know what he's saying. Our people can, for an American, if he says, I'm coming from so and so state, so and so village, so and so district, that American would not have heard of that place, leave aside, do anything. So for him, that is very limited. Let's be very clear. Here, we will establish everything that we have the wherewithal to do so. If he says he belongs to so and so, you can ring up, find out what is the validating evidence that exists to ensure that he belongs to India. So that part undoubtedly we will have to do, even if Americans have done it. Though in my opinion, they would have done nothing. The moment a chap said I am from India and he says they would have actually sent him to India. That's simple as that for them.
Right.
It is for us to find out where they are from. That's what is the point.
Right. And do you see any politics taking place on this issue? We're already seeing statements coming from the opposition parties using it as a issue to target the government. In fact, there was a soundbite of Shashi Tharoor. If we can play up that first, and then we can go to Alokji.
Administration's deportation, I think
we
two or three things are being forgotten by the public. Number one, this is not the first such deportation, won't be the last. Even before Trump came, during the Biden administration, in the last fiscal year, which ended in September 2024, there were already 1,100 Indians sent back from America, illegal Indians. The Americans estimate there are 725,000 undocumented Indians who are eligible for deportation. And in the course of the last 4 years, they have arrested 170,000, almost 2 lakh Indians in their two borders with Canada and Mexico. All these people, they say, are there illegally. If they are citizens of India, we have an obligation to take them back. There is no debate about that. We have to take them back. People, if they want to go to America legally, are free to go with a visa, with a job, or as a tourist, or whatever, or to study, whatever it may be. But when you stay either without documentation or illegally or without work permit and you try and work, you are subject to the laws of that country, whether it's America or any other country. If tomorrow Mr. Amit Shah catches a Bangladeshi migrant working in India, he won't deport him. Same story. If an Indian is caught working in America and is not legally there, he'll be deported. Story is the same for every country. Immigration
Story is the same for every country, Alokji. That's the point, and that seems to be a very valid point. That if there are people from other countries in India, they too can be deported. And he is saying that it's not just the first time that such deportations have taken place from the US; it's happened in the past as well.
See, Zafar, firstly, there is no politics involved. Unless, of course, you have a glasses which see politics everywhere. There's no politics. He's made a very clear statement.
Yes,
It's
yes,
similar statement as Mr. Subramaniam said. So he says if they are illegal there, we will take them back. So this has
Right.
been happening. This will continue to happen. There are lakhs, as I said, there are lakhs of people who are actually trying to cross from Mexico, Canada. They are apprehended. But more importantly, what the numbers which he gave is very interesting. He says 725,000 people. The government of India has till now accepted 18,000 people. But there's a
Right.
huge mismatch between the two numbers. Please understand. And that's what I was trying to say. That in US context, there are numerous people who can come within the ambit of this so-called illegal migrants who are not considered as illegal migrants because they are on valid work permit. They had gone there on a valid visa, but the visa validity has expired, or they had gone on a different visa and are doing something else under different visa. So please understand that the moment this motion gets aggravated, we're trying to identify who's illegal, and the perception who's an illegal is also a very complicated one. Because please understand, Trump during his campaigning has said even H1B needs to be scrutinized. Because when a company gets a person on H1B, they give an affidavit saying that such a talent is not available locally in the US. Now, you know that affidavit has got no meaning. It's actually just for the sake of it. But if you actually start scrutinizing it seriously, then half the people who are on H1B will actually not be able to go there. So there are a lot of issues when we look at illegal migration as far as US is concerned. I think this particular 104 who are coming is basically to give a message to more for his domestic audience that yes, he means business, he can do it, and he will do it. So that's what he wants to keep his domestic audience, his voters happy that yes, what he promised, he has done it. So that's what he has done. And I think that's what is required from his point of view, and that's what he's doing.
Right. Playing to the domestic politics. Shashikantji, the point that Alokji was making is that the perception of who is an illegal migrant also varies. That is why there can't be a set number, a fixed number. What may be an illegal migrant for one party may not be an illegal migrant for the other party.
True, that's right. As per the American law, what happens really if a person is overstayed his visa, it becomes illegal. State where their rule is very, very simple that this was the permit, you were permitted to live here for this amount of this much time period. If the time period is over, it becomes absolutely illegal. That's what they do. And here's one more point which I'd like to bring in for discussion. Look, whatever Trump has done is not necessarily only for the domestic audience. He is moving ahead with two things, basically, broadly. One is illegal guys who've gone there, and second, the tariff war. That this kind of thing once started, naturally it will send shivers down the spine of most of the countries who were trying to go in for a tariff war with America, trade war with America, or illegal things. It's a message, I think, Mr. Bansal, that is the message for the entire world that, hey, guys, if you don't fall in line, I'm going to do this thing and that thing. And that he's trying to show that he means business. And everybody knows that he means business now, as on date, certainly. So this is what I think, and maybe if you want, we can discuss it. Thank you.
Right. Alokji, it's a messaging that is sent to different quarters, Shashikantji says. But how do you see the India-America relation right now? Do you think after the change in America, President Trump taking over, do you think certain change taking place? We may see a very small thing that these people are deported on a military aircraft, and India has been saying that if they are illegal, then they have to be brought back to their country. But on the whole, the larger picture, how do you see the larger picture panning out from here?
See, Zafar, first thing is the only thing certain about Trump and his administration is unpredictability. So
Right.
to predict how India-US relations will pan out is difficult. As of now, there is no doubt that a large section of Indian diaspora feels that relations will improve because there are a lot of things which Trump which likes about India. The way Prime Minister Modi has been invited. More importantly, the countries in India's neighborhood are very, very emphatic that Modi has been invited by President Trump. They look at President Trump as Prime Minister Modi's good friend. So these are the perceptions. Now, how it will pan out is very difficult because President Trump could act in any particular way. Shashikantji talked about tariffs. The fact is that tariffs has been used as a tool of diplomacy by Trump. Now you see, he has taken back tariffs. He implemented tariffs against Colombia. When Colombia acceded to his request, he took back. Canada, Mexico, he's
Yes.
withheld.
Yeah.
China, he's continued. So he will use tariffs as a powerful instrument of diplomacy. He'll use it as a threat to make other countries fall in line. And that's what he's trying to do. And I personally feel with Prime Minister Modi going there, I think things will work out well for India because India has always agreed to take back illegal migrants. As far as tariffs are concerned, there could be negotiations. We could negotiate those issues. But again, as I said, with Trump, you can never be certain. He may say something today, he may do something entirely different day after. And that's
and
how
he,
he is. You can see on Afghanistan, his statements, on various international issues, his statements have been so damn different. That's what I said.
yes, and he's using the tariffs as a tool. Last word to you, Shashikanji, before we wrap up.
Well, I think that we were talking about the relations between India and America. Certainly, I think as a security person, like worked in security agencies, worked abroad also with the capacities, I think certainly they're going to improve. Reason being, America as on date has to ensure that the China doesn't get out of his shoes. The shoes that he remains fixed there, and so- and India is one of the basic, biggest boulder that as far as the China is concerned. Certainly, I think to contain China, he'll have to do it, ensure that his relations with India certainly remain uh, good. And yes, arm twisting will go on off and on the question of tariff and this and that. But if you look at the larger perspective, Trump has no option but to ensure that India and American relations remain good only because of China. Already he has done something that string of pearls, certain countries in Latin America, they were trying, he told them, hey, China's influence is not permitted there. So I'm sure, and I hope and wish that Indian relations with the United States will remain good. Thank you.
Right. Thanks so much, Shashikantji and Alok Bansal Saab, for joining us today and for sharing your thoughts. And thanks to our viewers for watching the Mojo Story. We'll have to wrap it up here. Thanks for watching.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.